Well, you may be surprised to know that Christianity as a whole is not in decline. It's not going the way of the dinosaur, despite what's being portrayed in mainstream media. The 2,000-year-old faith is stronger than ever. In his new book, From Jerusalem to Timbuktu, theologian Brian Stiller takes a look at 5 key factors that have shaped the church and increased its vibrancy. Brian is the global ambassador for the World Evangelical Alliance, former president of Tyndale University College and Seminary in Toronto, and founder and former editor of Faith Today. Brian, great to have you back on 100 Huntley Street. And you've been here a few times over the years.
Many, many times.
Well, it's great to have you here.
Yeah. Good to be here.
Now, the book, you write this, I just love it because I love church history. I want to see what's going on in the church, that kind of thing. From Jerusalem to Timbuktu, explain the title.
Well, the church started in Jerusalem in 33 AD. And if you look at the center of the density of the critical mass of Christians, and that's the operative word, the center of density, that center of density, of course, moved out through Asia Minor and through Europe, through the missionaries, through Paul and other missionaries, and eventually in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th century, it moved closer over to Rome, and then the Europe became Christian in the subsequent centuries. And for many, many years, that's where the center of Christianity was. But in the last 100 years, that center of density, which started in 33 AD in Jerusalem, has moved all the way across through Europe, down through North Africa, and this year, the center of density of the population of Christians is in Timbuktu, Malawi. Timbuktu is not a metaphor, it's a very real city, as you know.
Absolutely. And so when you look at, though, with Christianity was very strong in North America, not to say that some think it's in decline, but because of immigration, things like that in Canada, maybe it's propping up the church, but definitely it is now moving to the south. Why is that happening?
Well, the surprise to people is because the general assumption has been, by secularization, that as people become better educated, higher economic standard of living, increasingly religion will mean less and less to them. Now, we have seen this in North America. We have certainly seen in Europe. But what has happened through what we call the Global South. The Global South means Africa, Latin America, and Asia. What has happened as those countries become better educated, better at a higher socioeconomic level, the opposite has happened. So that, for example, in 1900, there were 8.7 million Christians in Africa. Today, there's 542 million Christians in Africa.
And it was predicted that Christianity would be wiped out, by the way, in Africa with the rise of Islam.
That's right. That was the prediction at the conference of 1910 in Edinburgh. That didn't happen. So, for example, in China, 1949, Mao comes in, 52, he throws out all the missionaries. We have then about 700,000 Christians in China. Today, the number is anywhere from 90 million to 140 million. So there's been this enormous explosion of Christian faith globally.
We are seeing that. We're going to come back with Brian Stiller again, the great book. I'd encourage you to get it. If you're interested in, Bible history and some of the markings, why these revivals and things take place, from Jerusalem to Timbuktu, we'll look at some of the reasons that there is incredible growth in some parts of the world and how, as we in Canada, can connect with that and see, Christianity explode again in our country. We'll be right back.